Hi, welcome to or welcome back to Cables, Lace, and Tails. My name is Sue. How's it going? I am just going to do a traditional podcast today of finished objects, whips, my plans for the future. I may show, I'm going to show one book, and it has to do with my birthday last year. So, my first object I am not actually going to be featuring on screen because they're in my boots, and just how I had hoped they would. My inserts enmesh themselves in the faux fur of those cheap boots I have and are providing the warmth I was looking for. However, I realized the way I walk has spread the garter stitches just a little bit on my toes. So I will probably make another layer and then have that one get enmeshed into that one. Time will tell. It all depends on how cold it is. Presently today, this morning, feels like minus 21 Fahrenheit, and presently it's like minus 10 Fahrenheit. So, it's a bit chilly. We were inside for recess and it is extremely boring. The kids get really revved up. They need the fresh air. I wish we were outside, even for 10 minutes. Frostbite doesn't happen until 20, 30 minutes in, but some kids are not dressed appropriate. And then, of course, you have all the other aspects, like not wearing their hat correctly, etc., etc. Anyway, on to the finished objects. I was playing finished objects are done. I almost finished this. I mean, it is so close, and I was playing yarn chicken, and I thought to myself, I'm just going to work on it. So I have been working on this steadily, and it is I gotta be careful because, my cats like this yarn a lot, and she's staring at it right now. Maybe I can fish for her and she can come. So this is, can you see it? This is my colorwork sweater. I am presently finishing up on the ribbing on the bottom. I have the sleeves the way I wanted them. I did not follow the pattern exactly because I thought I knew better, and I thought, oh well, I'll just knit for a while and then decrease. And then by the time I looked at the pattern, I was about 30 rows in, and then I realized, no, you're supposed to decrease here and then knit for a while and then do the cuff. I like it. It fits me fine. I figure I'll just wear a t-shirt underneath it, or I can do layers. It does give me kind of a balloony sleeve. You see how it tapers off drastically over here. I did the left sleeve first. So I got down to I was on row 9, or I should say round 9 going into 10. And so I was about like 9.5. And I ran out of yarn, and I thought, you know what, instead of doing the whole cuff, I'll just put that on hold. And then I worked on this sleeve. One skein was, I think it's like, one skein lasted to about, I'm trying to see, right here. So about halfway down the sleeve was one skein. I only had 3 left. I started with a partial one for my first sleeve. I used up one for my first sleeve. So now I was down to 3. Okay, yeah, because I had a partial. I wasn't counting that as my 4 left. So then I finished one, so now I only have 3 left. And I wasn't finished with the first sleeve, went to the second sleeve, used up a full skein of yarn for about half the sleeve, thought, oh boy. And so I was really going back and forth. Do I see what I got? Do I buy more? Do I use different colors? I still have a little bit of color from the other 2 colors in the pattern, more of the cream color, which is called cloud. The green color is called seaweed. And then you get the whole, was it the same dye lot? So I thought, okay, I'm just going to work on this steadily. and I pumped it out over the weekend. I just worked, and I got down to the same level as my first sleeve, and I looked at my yarn and I thought, oh, I have enough. So I went down 12 rounds of ribbing, which is about 2 inches, maybe a little less. For the sleeve, I use size 7 needles. For the body, the sleeve, I use size 7. For this cuff, I use size 5. There's 54 stitches at the end. It fits real nice. I like it. It does cinch in a little bit, which is handy, especially on those cold days. So then after I finished that sleeve, I went back and I picked up, you can see, I picked up the yarn, and then I knitted another few rows because it was like 9.5, so 2.5. Yeah, 2.5 to make 12 rounds. And then I bound off. When I bound off on both sleeves, I used 7. So I knitted with the 5, and then I changed out my circular needle tips and I bound off with 7 because I didn't want to do an Italian bind off. It does give me quite a bit of stretch. I mean, it doesn't stretch like this. This is Italian bind off. But I just didn't want to. My cat's underneath the table. Anyway, so then I had one full skein, and I'm gonna pull out here. One full skein, and I don't know how much. It's not very much. This much left. So this is about half a skein. So I have a quarter, maybe less, an eighth, I don't know. But if my hem requires a little bit more, I have a little bit of backup, and I'm hoping that. I only had this much of the green left, which was a little less than half. And then I have a full skein plus like 3/4 of the cloud. So there was options that I could do if I ran out of yarn. Now, in the future, I would love to have a colorwork sweater with the top and the cuffs and the hem all done in colorwork, because I think those are just magnificent. So with the bottom, I picked up yarn, and I decided I didn't want to go down to 5s because the 5s are pretty cinched in compared, pretty cinched in. And I didn't want it to be cinched in at my hem for aesthetic reasons, personal preference reasons. So I went down to a size 6. And I'm debating, when I get done with the rounds, I'm on round 7 or 8 right now. I want to get down to 12 so it kind of matches the cuff. Do I cast off in size 7 or size 8? Or do I do a size 7 on one and an 8 on the other? So there's a bit of figuring out yet, but I'm very close. And when I get to it, which I hope to be done for sure this week, because I so want to learn how to steam block. I've never steam blocked before. I am a little nervous about the red cranberry bleeding into this color, and I did receive a steamer for Christmas as a present, which I'm very thankful for. And I've never steam blocked. And then as I was researching steam blocking, you can also spray block, which I did not know you could do. And then I was watching, I was flipping through Instagram, as you do, and this, I don't even remember who it was, but some lady just learned of this technique, and I have heard of it before, but it was snowing, and she laid out her sweaters in the snow to clean them. And I thought, ooh, and we've been in a snow drought where I live, and it's been a bummer. So there's still options of learning with this sweater. It has taught me quite a bit. The name of it, I'm going to be really careful because I'm putting it over here in my bin off the camera, and I have someone looking. You can kind of see her right there. She's smelling my finger, and she's just, keeping an eye on things. So the pattern I got was out of this book. I've showed it before. Only Yoking. I really like this book. The pattern is called Audrie. I'm gonna show you. She did it in just 2 colors. That's the top. So the bottom of the sweater is in the pink. I decided to do it in 3 colors because I don't know. I had reasons. I knew I didn't have enough of the cranberry to just be a 2 colorwork sweater, and I really like that green that I had bought. I think it was in one of those color pack sets, and I thought that really actually goes well together. So I'm really glad I did that. Okay, so the yarn I used was Knit Picks Wool of the Andes, worsted weight. I do really like this wool. In fact, the sweater I'm wearing, which is a finished object, I should have mentioned this earlier. Look at me just rushing through things. This is also Knit Picks Wool of the Andes, worsted weight. This is the color Current. I did wet block this summer. I finished this sweater probably in August, early August. So proud. I was like, I finished it. It'll be ready for winter. I wet blocked it and it really bled. The color really bled. That's why I'm thinking about doing the steam blocking and having towels so the colors don't bleed. It really is nice. I just want a finished, polished look. Like this one didn't look too bad before I blocked it. But after I blocked it, it looked magnificent. And I was like, I did that. It did it. So, what else can I say? I already told you about okay. I'm going to go into this sweater. This is called the Frankie Genser. It has twisted, I suppose you can't even see because it's so dark, twisted rib on the cuffs. They call for a really, I think it was 20 centimeters. It's a raglan. It's a deep raglan. I sew down the collar. I did it really loosey, not really loosey-goosey, but I didn't pull too hard. Once you start working with yarn, you kind of get a feel for that yarn. And this sweater actually knitted up super quick. It does have the deep raglan. You start up here. You do the collar. I think I did like 4 inches, or they say 5 centimeters, something like that. And then I did short row shaping. This is the sweater that taught me about German short rows. I really like German short rows. And then it just kind of went down, and the stitches, the raglan stitches, oh, I have a little something coming out, I'll have to fix that, are over this. And it has a deep ribbed hem at the bottom, which I really, really, really like. I wore it to school today. It's funny because no one has like commented on this sweater. I think they think I bought it because no one has ever said, did you make that? You know, like with the other ones are like, did you make that? I don't know if I don't know, but I did make this and it's wonderful. And the fun thing about wool, because I haven't worn a lot of wool since college time. I had a bunch of wool sweaters because I would walk to school. Those were itchy. I got them from, I want to say J. Crew, back when they had magazines, and I would buy stuff through the magazine in the early 90s, mid 90s. But they would always be really itchy, and so I'd always have to wear something underneath them. This, only when I get really, really hot does it become a tad noticeable. And I say tad. There are times where I think, oh, I should take this off. I'm getting really hot. And I just say, you know, calm down. You're fine. And it regulates. I love it. I'm really starting to love wool. So I'm hoping that my colorwork sweater will turn out as beautiful as this one. I do plan on talking more about the Frankie Genser when I'm talking about the Sandes Garn patterns, because I got this out of the Sandes Garn pattern book that I learned from Anna from 8PT Atelier and Knitting Traditions, Inga from Knitting Traditions. And I did buy my books from an Etsy shop in Lithuania. So I will discuss all of that at some other time. I am not going to show you the progress on my socks because I made none. I concentrated on my colorwork sweater. Although I did start another dishcloth, even though I said I was going to give myself January free. I was at a 4-H skating party, roller skating party, and I just wanted to do a little something, and I did. It looks like 1.5, maybe 2 rows, so I didn't really do too much on that. However, I am now switching to my Lopi sweater. I did not put a progress keeper on this last time. I did talk about why there was a little hole because I kept twisting it and I still have to sew it up. Oh wait, I did put a progress keeper. So last time I was right about here. You can see the purple right there. And now I am working on, or maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't move it. Well, needless to say, I got this much done. I spliced? No. Split? No, I don't know what you call it. Where you take the 2 ends of yarn, and I just got them wet with water, and then you rub them together. That worked. This is bulky weight yarn, and I really like it. So right now, like my daughter had, she went to a basketball game last week with her friends at the school she goes to, and she's, hanging out and eating yum food and whatnot, and the game went long, and I had brought this with me, but I only had the one small skein left, and I thought, well, you should bring another skein, and I was like, oh, she's not going to be that long. I'm going to be there for 10 minutes. The game went long, and she was there for an extra 20 minutes, so I was waiting for about a half hour, and I didn't have anything to do for the last 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes or so, and I was like, well, now I'm bored. And I didn't want to go inside the school because I don't want to embarrass her. Like, let's go. I wanted her to make this decision, and her phone was dead, so there was no way for me to get a hold of her to say, hey, I'm here, I'm bored. So I just waited in the parking lot. But then last night, she was showing the new soon-to-be 6th graders, so they're 5th graders right now. They all go to the middle school at this time of year and test out, like, do they want to play in band? Do they want to sing? Do they want to play in orchestra? Do they want to just take music appreciation class? So I made sure I had a nice big old skein of yarn. When I put this to my neck, there is a bit of a scratch factor, but it's not as bad as it was when I initially started working with it. Off camera here, I'm looking down. I have 2 cats. Will they come and say hello? But the more I work with this, the softer it feels. So I'm really hoping that what they say is true. The more you use it, the softer it is. And how wonderful would this be to be freshened up in fresh snow? I mean, just like the olden days. I just love it. I mean, there's so much depth. I don't know if it's coming across the camera. There's so much depth within the yarn itself. And it's really nice. So like I've been working on a lot of small needle projects with small yarn, and this is, I'm using a size 10 right now. And it's nice. I really enjoy it. So I'm going to continue working on that. I'm going to put this away. The color work for this one is going to be across the arms and the chest, and it's a bottom up yoke. So I'm working up, and then I'll work up the sleeves. I'm gonna, once I get to a certain length, I suppose you would say, I'm gonna see if it, matches what I'm thinking for my body, and then I'm gonna make the sleeves kind of match to that. Yeah, it'll be a work in progress. Also, let's see, my cardigan. I've been working steadily on this too, because as I was ignoring Yarn Chicken with my colorwork sweater, I thought, well, I'll just work on this. I did get about an inch and a half. You can barely see. About an inch and a half done, maybe 2. My finger right here, from here to here, measures an inch. Every once in a while, I'll make sure it's the same. Yeah, it's about an inch and a half. Back and forth. The last time I measured this though, I was at 14 inches. So I only need 2 more inches. Then I start the decreasing of the arm, and that's when it really goes quickly, because then I'm like, ooh, I want to get this done. And then once that's done, I will wet block that one. I think it needs a good nice soak because it is stocking it, so it just curls up on itself so much. And the other pieces, you would even know that they're the front of a cardigan because it's just like a tube. So that's that. And all right, so that's all the works in progress that I'm going to show you, as in I've already shown you, and that's what I have done so far. But now I'm going to show you a work in progress that I haven't touched since August, when I started all of my dishcloths, and I was working on this steadily. I'm going to show you the book first. So for my birthday, I received a lovely gift card to Knit Picks. Talulla. And this was a brand new book. So I got a gift card. It was a very nice gift card. And then I got oh, thank you. And then I got from Knit Picks like 25% off. I want to say 25% off. It made me really happy because I was looking at this book, and this book was 20% off already. And then I figured with my gift card and the discount. So I got this book. I did buy yarn for one of the projects. I don't know why I didn't start with that one first. I don't know why. But I started with this one first. It's called the Emrys Cardigan. There's some more pictures. And it uses, well, I am using Lion Brand's Fisherman's Wool Natural / Oatmeal color. It's a size 9 for the gauge. So the gauge was 16 stitches in 24 rows and 4-inch stockinette, stitched flat and blocked. I did do the cable. I did the stockinette stitch. My gauge matched with the size 9 needle. I'm doing the 5th size, which is a 51.5-inch bust, because I want to wear it on the outer side of my clothes for recess. And I think the reason why I did start this one first is because the pockets were easier. I'm thinking back now. So I'm going to show you a couple pictures. I'm going to take out my notes and take this off. So this is the back. It's gorgeous. And then they show you a couple pictures of the side. There's a few more. The pockets were a new way of, I've never done pockets like that before. In fact, I've never done pockets at all. So it's an interesting construction. That's all the pictures. So you start, I'm trying to find my page where all my stuff was. You start at the bottom. Wait. Go back in time. You make 2 pocket linings. And when I made the pocket lining, I used that as my gauge swatch. Okay. And then you put the pocket linings off to the side, my gauge swatch matched, and then you work across the entire hem of the sweater. And then you work up the whole way. You get to a certain point in the sweater, and then you take your 2 pocket linings and you attach it to the sweater here and here. So you bind off these stitches. You bind off these, and then you continue knitting across the pocket lining. Okay, it's a little confuddled right here, but it worked. I was like, awesome, I love that. Right now I have it kind of together, but you would work the whole bottom across. Wait, that's back. Everything all the way up to the armpits. And then when you get to the armpit, I'm going to show you this one because it's not done. When you get to the armpit, that's when you stop working across the whole sweater. You follow the pattern. It tells you when to do the cables. And then you work the right side and you go all the way up, decreasing for the armhole. And then you work the back and you just put these stitches on hold. And then when you're done with that, then you work the front. Whoop. And then you don't sew it up yet, but I don't know why. I'm doing what the pattern states for the first one. Maybe it's because you can move things around in the beginning. I haven't worked on this in a long time, so I'm trying to remember why. But the sleeve construction, you start, I'm gonna read, because I know you pick up sleeves. Okay, back shoulder shaping. So you make 2 of the same. Starting at the center underarm, you pick up stitches. So I'll pick up stitches one way, probably when I'm looking at it. I'll probably go this way, pick up all the stitches, right? And then I know you do stuff. I know you have to do things. And I don't remember. It's been so long. I read it last night and I don't remember what I read because it was like 10:45 at night and I was tired. Oh. Okay. So the first round, you set up all these stitch markers. Okay. And you go all the way around. And then on the second round, you start the short row shaping. So you go all the way around and you put all your markers so you know what you're doing. And then you work back and forth flat. And it makes this really nice sleeve cap. And you do the ribbing, not the ribbing, the cable. And then boom, 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 boom. Now, you get to a certain point and then you start working in the round. And I know I did German short rows. I have it written down so I won't forget. But I did German short rows instead of their wrap and turns. And somehow I did more or less. I don't know what I did differently. It's working out. Isn't that the case? Like you think you know what you're doing and then you do German short rows and something else changed. But I got to a point where you have to wrap 2 stitches. So I switched from German short rows to wrapping 2 stitches. It worked out in the end. I have it all written down. I have all my stitch markers still in there so I can figure out what I did here and then here. I'm gonna have to study this for a little bit, but I'll figure it out. I always seem to figure out what I mean by my notes, and it is lovely. I mean, it smells good. I was working on this so quickly. It was going so fast, and then unfortunately, I had to start school, and I had to start working on my dishcloths. And by the time I was done with the night, I'm like, okay, I made 2 dishcloths today. By the time I was actually done, and I thought, okay, I can work on something else, I was just too tired to do a cable, because you do have to pay attention, especially when it comes to sleeves and stuff. So once you get done with the sleeves, you sew up the shoulder seams, and then you make like a shawl collar. I'm gonna see if I can find a good picture of it. Oh, this is pretty good. Where you pick up on one of the sides and you go all the way down and go back up, and then you do some short row shaping, and then you finish. I'll read that some more. That's a different day's situation, because I'm going to learn how to do buttonholes. I have done buttonholes in the past, but it was on a baby sweater. And a big button is a lot different than a little button. It looked weird when I was doing that on screen. Anyway, I really like this sweater. I cannot wait to work on it, but I'm going to hold off until I finish my colorwork sweater, which is very close to being done. The needles I'm using, like I mentioned, I got a really nice gift card for my birthday, and I heard about these, I want to say Sunstruck, I don't know. They're 4 square needles by Knit Picks. So they're square. Can you see? They're square. Can you see? I can't tell. Anyway, I like these a lot. They have a nice pointed tip. The wood is smooth. It works really nice. I bought the larger needle length and the shorter ones because I had a discount. Things were on sale. I had another gift card. So I was just like, this is the time to purchase it. I have more than enough yarn. However, speaking of yarn, so when I bought this originally, it was on sale at Joann's, and I got it for like $10.50 a skein, when normally it's like $14. And I thought, cool. At the time, I didn't pay attention to dye lots. I just thought, they look similar, it'll be fine. And I've had this in my stash for a number of years. When I started working on my cardigan, I realized I was using 18, and then the next one I was using was 19. And I thought, well, overall, it's a pretty unified. You can kind of tell in certain lights, but overall, it's pretty similar. And when I get done with this sweater, I will wet block it as well, because I think that'll really help the cable pattern really shine. I mean, I really enjoyed this. I love knitting cables. This was the first, I've never knit these types of cables before, so there was a little learning curves, but I just followed the pattern. The thing about Knit Picks books, which I really also enjoy, because I like to read what it says and then look at the chart. I sometimes don't always understand chart, so they have the chart over here and then the instructions over there, so you can reference what you're doing. And then, what else is there to say about this? I can't wait till it's done. I'm so looking forward to it. So, sometimes when you get done with a sweater or a project, you have that like, oh, I miss doing that cable pattern, or, oh, I really enjoyed working on that twisted rib, or, oh, I wish da 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 da. It's a good feeling that you have enjoyed your pattern so much that you're willing to even make it again if need be. So the next pattern, this is why I bought the book. I love this sweater. It's called the Vegetable Patch Jacket by Annie Howard. Oh, wait. Emrys Cardigan was by Sierra Morningstar. So the Vegetable Patch Jacket required quite a bit of yarn because it goes quite long. It is knit flat. I am planning to do size 5, which is 51 1/4 inches bust because I want to wear this over things. I'm using Wool of the Andes worsted. It requires 21 skeins for the size I'm working on, but I got 24 because I need to make gauge swatches to make sure I'm doing the right size for my needles that I choose. The thing about those square needles, they can change your gauge just a little bit. And I'm okay with that on sleeves because I like a roomy sleeve. I don't want to be all bunchy. So the Wool of the Andes worsted is called Shire Heather. I don't know if it's coming across. I can't really tell my screen, but it has like a depth of blues and greens and browns, and it just is striking. And I'm really looking forward to making this. But I'm not going to make the vegetable patch cardigan until I'm done with my other cardigan, because even though I really want to do a gauge swatch, and I may do the gauge swatch as like a test. Ooh, let's see what I can do with this. But I really want to get done with my fingering weight cardigan, my colorwork sweater, and this cable cardigan, so I can go on to other things, because I have a lot of things I want to do. I do have another sweater. This is called the cherry sweater. And this is another, I did some modifying. Did I keep it? Yeah. This is from Sandes Garn. There's not a lot of, it's very simple. And the arms will only go to about my elbows. And it's done on, I think, size 5 needles. I'm using the 4 square on these. I can't tell because it's too dark. I need my glasses. I put this off to the side. This is a nice one to work just in the round. Yeah, these are this is a size 5. In the square, I really like these squares. This is a discontinued yarn from Knit Picks. It was called Upcycle Alpaca Blend. Truth be told, when they had their $2 for $6 skein sale in November of 2023, I picked up some of this. And then when they had it again this year, I bought more to make the amounts that I have, because I was originally thinking, oh, I'll just use those for color work. But then I really like these colors and I really like this yarn, and I thought, well, I could make a sweater or whatever. But this color is called Squirrel. It's beautiful. When you look at it in the right light, there's like hints of red and pinks and browns, and it's wonderful. So each 100-gram skein came with 273 yards, and it is a mixture of 33% alpaca, 34% wool, and 33% acrylic. It's a size 2, so it's kind of sport weight. It is sport weight, says it right there. I really like it. I'm kind of sad they got rid of it. I think it's one of those testings that they do. They have a lot of beautiful colors. I will be making a lot of things from this. I will talk more about this sweater in the future because I haven't worked on it so long, and it's in the Sandes Garn book that I made the Frankie sweater, and I don't have my notes for that, but I just kind of wanted to show it because it's so soft, it's so lovely, And by showing things, I have learned if I show stuff to anyone, it makes me work harder on the things I want done. Like, I could have let that sleeve thing languish for months. Oh, will I have enough yarn? Blah. Should I? Shouldn't I? I have all these other projects. I could just work on something else. No, I said, you know what? Figure it out. Find out if you actually can get it done. So, because there are there are other patterns in this book that I really want to make. And I'm going to be using the upcycle alpaca for, like, I really like this one. It's so pretty. I already did the gauge swatch, so I know what my yarn and needle will be for this. But I'm trying to find the patterns. They show them on pages. So I wanted to either do the Finley, which is what I have bookmarked. It's just a beautiful yoke. I haven't decided on the colors. There's also, what's one this? This is called Mila. I mean, that is just gorgeous. See? So pretty. That would be a challenge because of the three colors in the colorwork, but most of it is like 2 colors at the same time, most of it. And then the Janie, I think it's called. Janie. The Janie. That one's pretty too. So, okay, yep. And then, so I want to do at least one of those in the sport weight because I do have a lot and I kind of want to use it. And there's so many beautiful colors. I do have this one, it's called Coneflower, and it's a mixture of, it's more blues, there's green and some browns in it. And when I look at it, it just makes me happy. And I have enough to make like a cardigan, but I don't know what kind of cardigan. In fact, I have a lace cardigan with some cables. I started it when I was starting a lot of different projects and over the summer, and then I screwed up. I screwed up so bad. I had to tear the whole thing out. And I don't even remember where I am. I think I'm like I think I just did the ribbing to do that, but that's another, you work all the way across, work up cardigan from Knit Picks. I got a different book. That book, which I'll show you when I make that, was like $5. They have a lot of books on sale for $5, which is wonderful, especially when you like to buy pattern books versus digital. I don't like staring at a screen all that much all the time, and having paper gives me the options of writing into it and, putting post-its where I need to be. So that is about it. I'm looking at my works. I do have some other projects that I have been working on, but I'm going to say that. Like the Sorry Nordland scarf, I don't remember what it's called. I bought her book Softly. It's a lovely book. I want to make a bunch of patterns out of there. So I have talked for about 43 minutes. I can just gab on forever when it comes to talking about my knitting. Oh, I got a story. I was like thinking, like I remember something happening today, and I really was not caught off guard, but it was a really wonderful surprise. So at my job, I work in the library. Besides recess and lunch duty, I mainly am the librarian's educational assistant. And so I was working in the library doing my thing, and another educational assistant, but she's in the SPED department. She came up to me and she goes, I just love using the dishcloth you made. Thank you so much. And then she went on to say how she was looking at it and how it has inspired her to pick up her crochet hook, but she didn't know where to get the yarn. And I said, oh, I got it at Walmart. And she goes, oh. I said, yeah, it's a cheaper version than the Sugar and Spice from Joann's. It's called Peaches and Cream. And then I talked to her about it a little bit, and I just thought, well, how wonderful. I'm inspiring people to do something with their hands. That's what, I mean, nowadays kids use fidget spinners, or they're on their gaming or, phones or whatever. And back in my day, back in the last century, before all this technology came about, kids did latch hook. They did paint by numbers. I'm just talking about like stuff that I did and other kids also did. They did beadwork, they made little bracelets. My sister did macrame. We did things. We colored a lot. I remember making a lot of different pictures. And what do kids do now? I try to get my child into embroidery or crochet. I haven't taught her how to knit, and then I feel bad that I haven't, but I was starting to learn how to knit and I was too nervous to teach her. But now that I'm more comfortable, maybe I will be able to teach her. But she, like a lot of kids her age, likes to be online with her friends doing dress to impress. And I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts. Like, in what I learned from Inga from Knitting Traditions is in Norway, they teach knitting in like their grade school. I don't know if they call it primary or what, but in their lower levels of education, they teach all the kids to knit. And I have brought that up to, I think, every one of my principals I've worked for 3. And granted, they're at the mercy of the school district, they're at the mercy of the school board or the parents, but just think what that would do for kids. It's kind of like how music helps with math. Working with knitting or crocheting or even needlepoint stuff or baking or cooking, it all builds on one another, right? Okay, so when I learned how to bake, it taught me more about fractions than trying to figure out how to do fractions on the paper. But at the same time, learning how to bake didn't teach me how to add the fractions per se if you had inverted numbers and you had to change things, which is a totally viable thing you need, especially when it comes to computer programming or engineering or any of that stuff. But what I'm trying to state is having these classes builds on one another. And I just hope in the future that the education system, the public education system, continues to do its best on how to help children learn. And I don't really know what's going to happen in the future. I'm actually kind of scared. But I learned to knit via YouTube. I'm not saying that everybody can. I'm trying to think of how this is all going to work out in my brain. So learning to knit brought clothes into the works. It brought how things fit on me and how they fit on my child. And then that increased my wanting to learn how to sew garments. Now it's easier for me to pick up a crochet or knitting project any given day instead of, organizing a space with my iron and the table with the sewing and all that stuff. But I love working with my hands. It gives me stress relief. It gives me hope for the future. Maybe I will teach a class on how to knit in the future. Maybe I will teach my daughter how to knit, and maybe then she'll be like, I'd rather knit than be on my phone. Because she has learned how to crochet, and she's pretty good at it, but she doesn't have the follow through. Yeah, she's a young teenager, and sometimes you fuddle around. I'm trying to think about like what I was doing at the age of 13. I know I wanted to do a lot of handiwork, but I wasn't allowed to do it. It was it was shunned in my house. It was shunned. And so even though I wanted to do it, I couldn't do it. And I think that festered in a different way. I think what would have been if I were allowed to do the things I really love to do. I don't know. Can't go back in time right now. So I'm going to leave it off at that because I feel like I'm just kind of rambling. Here's the point. Here's the point. Work hard at doing things you love. Teach others if they want to learn. Be open to the idea of maybe my daughter would rather do macrame. Maybe she's actually taking next Thursday. They do have a program at her school for after school classes, and she doesn't want to learn knitting. She didn't want to learn how to sew, but she wants to learn how to cake decorate. And I'm all for that. If she wants to learn how to cake decorate, that's wonderful. I've tried to teach her, but like I was discussing today at work, she didn't want to learn from me. And maybe I'm not her teacher, right? I think you can learn from anybody. If she really truly wants to do cake decorating, she's my friend. She's my little hanger-outer. But I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry for rambling. I'll be working on all of my stuff. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you feel free to like and subscribe, or don't like. Maybe this isn't your cup of tea and you can just hit the don't like thing. It's fine by me. Oh, I don't know. Maybe this won't get published. Who knows? I did change the setting in my phone, so maybe that will work and I can edit this all out. And then, splice it together. Wouldn't that be a fun new trick I could learn? I don't know. I really do enjoy podcasting, and I find even if I am making rambling mistakes at this moment in time, who doesn't make a rambling mistake? Who doesn't have, bag after bag of projects waiting to be done? Maybe I could have 10 bags. I think I do have 10 bags, but needless to say, thanks. Stay warm in this cold weather that we're having in the northern part of the world. Stay cool in the southern part of the world. Stay safe in those parts that are on fire. My heart goes out to you, and I hope that you're okay. And take care and have fun. Bye for now.